today we're going to be talking about something that I think is a very common question for new people when they start jiu-jitsu. And that question is, should I compete? Or when do you think I should compete? And that is a very broad question. I think that question does need to be answered in a couple different ways. The first way that I would answer that question is, what are your goals in jiu-jitsu? Do you want to be a world champion? Do you have a competitive nature? Have you been competitive before? Do you have a competitive background? Have you wrestled? Did you do any other sports that were competitive? If you have that competitive nature in you, then yes, I think it would be good for you. I think it's something that everybody should try. Now, if you've never done anything like that, competing can be a little bit scary because you don't really know what to expect. And you don't really know what to expect even if you have competed before. But if you haven't competed or done any type of sports before, it can be very, very scary, and it can be a little intimidating. So, next way I'm going to answer that question is, maybe you've done a little bit of competition before, no matter what sport it is, so you kind of understand that like practicing and then competition is two different types of paces. And I think that's what people need to understand before they go and compete. Now, the hard part about this too is that it's not a team sport, so you don't really have anybody that can carry you out there, that can help you even if you perform poorly. It's just you. Now, at the end of the day, if you're a white belt and you want to compete, you're not going to be going up against the purple belt that's in your gym or the black belt instructors, so you're not going to go out there and just get absolutely demolished. Now, that being said, you're going to go against somebody that's your own weight, your own age, and you're also going to go against somebody that's your own belt. So you're going to go up against another white belt that hopefully has been training just as long as you have. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It's hard to tell, but you're still going to go up against somebody that's still a novice and still a beginner. Now, the next part of this is, how long should I train before I compete? And this is really a hard question to answer because, once again, maybe you've wrestled in the past. I think those people should compete right away because I think that they're going to have an advantage because they understand the pace, they understand grappling a little bit better, versus the person that has never competed before and hasn't wrestled or grappled at all. That's two totally different mindsets and skill sets going in competition. So, how long should you compete if you've never done competition or never wrestled or grappled or anything before? In my opinion, I think it's good to wait a few months and kind of see like what tournaments are coming up. And then you really need to start looking at, how do I need to prepare? Now, I've competed all over the United States. I have done competitions from white belt all the way up to brown belt. And I have tried several different ways of preparation, of my mental state, which we will go into on a completely different video. But I think that you need to find what works best for you. I think a calm mind is a clear mind, which allows you to perform better. But I think you need to talk to your coach. I think you need to talk to your professor, your instructor, whoever, and really kind of see like, where do they think you are, and what can you do to start getting ready for a competition. If your gym has competition training days or nights or classes, I highly recommend that you attend those because they're going to be a lot harder. They're going to get you your cardio there, but you still have to do the work outside. So the more work you put in the gym and then also in your cardio as well is going to be huge going into a competition if it's your first time. You're going to be nervous, but you have to understand your opponent's going to be nervous as well because it might be their first or second tournament and they're really, really nervous to compete too. So it's not just you. Now, that doesn't mean skip jiu-jitsu classes to go do more cardio or go to the gym more to lift more weights. That's not going to help as much as being in here rolling and training and learning new techniques. So I would say talk to your instructor. I wouldn't say train for a week and then go compete. You're probably not going to do that well. I've seen it personally. It doesn't end well. But I think that if you can get a game plan together with your instructor that they firmly believe that is like your good spot, and then start working from bad positions and trying to get out of them, because you probably will most likely get put in a bad position in your first tournament. Start working to get out of those, and then start, really putting together like a solid game plan of what you want to do in that tournament. Don't go into your first competition without a game plan. So we'll cover more on that on a different video, but I think, yes, you should compete at least once. And the reason for that is there's quite a few reasons, actually. Number one, you learn more about yourself than you ever will just training here on the mat or in anything else. It's not just how good is your jiu-jitsu skill. It's how do I deal with the nerves? How do I deal with the anxiety? How do I deal with the fear? How do I deal with all of the commotion going around me? How do I deal with somebody that is going 100% against me that nobody's maybe done in the gym yet? You really kind of figure out how you deal with your inner emotions, and you kind of see, like, do you get scared? Do you get nervous? Are you confident? Are you calm? Then you kind of see what kind of person you are when you compete, and I think that is incredible, because then you can kind of see how you approach life in the same manner when there is something on the line. So it doesn't matter if you're going into a business deal, it doesn't matter if you're public speaking, you kind of attack it all the same way, and that will tell you what kind of person you are whenever you have to go and do those other things outside of competing in jiu-jitsu. But competition will expose all of your holes, all of your flaws. It's going to tell you exactly what you need to work on, and it's also going to tell you, how maybe you can manage your emotions for the next one. So I think you should compete. I really do. You'll learn more about yourself in competition than you ever will anywhere else, and it's fun. It's really fun, especially if you're doing it with your team or with your gym. Go out there, and if you bring a big team to a tournament, it doesn't matter if it's Fuji, if it's Grappling Industries, AGF, IBJJF, all of these tournaments are going to have their own rule sets. So be aware and learn the rules, learn how the points work and where you can score from and what is considered points, what's not points. Learn all the rules. Go to the IBJJF website, read all the rules. If there's a specific tournament that you're doing, read the rule sets, because it might be different than IBJJF or any other tournament. So I highly recommend looking at those other tournament rule sets and getting familiar with them. So that way, like, you don't go into a tournament and maybe you get heel hooked and you're like, I didn't know we could do that. Or maybe you go and heel hook somebody and you're like, I didn't know I couldn't do that. So yes, everybody should compete once, but if that's not your goal, then don't do it. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I have plenty of students that do not want to compete. That is not their goal, but they will be there all the time to support their teammates, which is just as fine as well. So I hope this helps. I hope this kind of gives you an answer on what you should or should not do when it comes to your goals in competing and what to kind of look forward to. So in one of our other videos, we'll kind of cover a little bit more of, what should my strategy kind of be for competition? What should I do, not do, eat, drink, all that stuff. We'll go into that in a totally different video, but I hope this helps, and we will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.